Hey, my name's James Nicholson. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk about what's the probability of house prices actually crashing in 2026. You see, this year has been a very, very strange year. We had a busy start to the year. We had 500,000 transactions in the first quarter. And then in the rest of the year, we've had 600,000 transactions split amongst 9 months. Now, all the annual growth was in the first half of the year, and now it's slowed significantly. Not only that, we've got a few signs that things are slowing down. For example, I did a video this week where I talked about mortgage approvals are down in October. They were down in September. And we've also had Rightmove asking prices dropping as well, indicating that sellers are now open to getting a lower offer and actually getting the sale done in their property. So in this video, I'm going to talk about all of the things that we've got to consider when looking at house prices in 2026. And to be honest, if you want to buy a house to invest in or buy a house to live in yourself, could be a good thing if house prices don't necessarily go up in 2026. Now, if you're new around here and you haven't done already, do make sure you subscribe to the channel over there and hit that bell notification. We'll give you all the latest property news, interest rate news, house price news, property investing tips, and much, much more. And let's get some views on this video. Your part in that is simple. All you need to do is smash like, tickle like, do something to that like button. That really helps with the YouTube algorithm, and that really does help the channel grow. So thanks to everyone that does that. So it's a really uncertain market. I've been running this channel now for nearly 4 years. And for the last 2, I don't get it so often now, but for the last 2 years, I would have every single video, people commenting on my channel saying, moving home with Charlie says the market's going to go down 35%. Now, he might be right. At some point that will happen, but that's not what I'm seeing has happened right now. Now, the high end, the top end of the market, that's true. There are areas where house prices in central London have dropped 25%, but we're not seeing that across all properties at the moment. And during that period of time, affordability has got a little easier because interest rates have started to come down, wages have started to go up, and house prices haven't really gone up much this year as well. So that has made it a little easier for a lot of people. So let's have a look at some things that might cause house prices to have problems in 2026. And the first one's an obvious one, and that's interest rates. So interest rates is something we've got to keep an eye on because that massively hits affordability. In an ideal world, we'd go back to 1% interest rates. That was wonderful when we had that for a long period of time. And we've had long periods of time now with ultra low interest rates since really 2008. So what are the interest rate expectations for next year? Well, we're expecting that we'll get a rate cut in America to 3.5% by the end of this year. And that's due to the fact that their unemployment data is not looking great. Their economy's looking a bit shaky as well. And so's ours. And so in the UK, we're expecting a rate cut to 3.75%. So we'll be fairly close to the Americans. Now, after that, the Federal Reserve are being quite stubborn on bringing rates down. And at the moment, they don't have all the data that they need. The Trump administration is not giving them the jobs report data or the inflation data from October, which means it's probably not looking great, that data. Now, what will happen next year is Jerome Powell, who's in charge of the Fed, he leaves. That job you have for a certain amount of years. His term comes to an end in May. So very soon we will know who will be the next Fed chairman, and that's going to be someone from the Trump administration. Now, once they're in there, there's a high probability that they're going to pressure everybody to drop rates. And so Trump, while he shouldn't have real control over it, is likely to do that because one of his own cronies is going to be the Fed chairman. Now, that will bring rates down, and that will get the Bank of England a bit more motivated to actually do something about bringing rates down. Because if the Americans go down to 1% and we're still stuck up at 4%, that's going to cause currency fluctuations that might not work out well for exporters and importers and stuff like that. So we might come down with them, as Europe has already dropped and other places have as well. I don't think we would want to be out there on our own with higher interest rates. However, interest rates could get stuck. And if they do get stuck higher, that would be bad for house prices. If they come down, that could be good for house prices. The next thing that could bring house prices down, though, is landlords. You guys that watch this channel. There's a lot of landlords that want to sell. In fact, it's nearly 40% of landlords want to quit because of the Renters' Rights Act, because of the extra taxes that we've just had in the budget. All of these things are meaning landlords, they just want to get out of the market. And so if lots of landlords sell, which it looks like potentially they are, because lots of Section 21 notices are getting served at the moment, we'll then see in a few months if we get lots of new listings for sale. If that happens, that could drag down prices as landlords undercut each other to get rid of that sale because they don't want it sitting on the market for a long period of time. So an influx of landlord stock, that could impact house prices in a negative way. Next is recession. It's crazy that we haven't had one for a long time. We've been so close, haven't we, to having recessions, and we always seem to get amended figures and then suddenly magically we're not in one. But yeah, we're really close. And look, unemployment's rising in the UK. Confidence amongst consumers isn't strong. Confidence among businesses isn't strong. And artificial intelligence is going to take jobs in 2026 as well. That will make company profits for some big companies stronger, but then there'll be less people spending in other businesses. And if we go into recession, that means people aren't going to buy, and some people will be forced to sell, and that could bring house prices down. So that's something to consider there. Next is unemployment. Basically, it goes hand in hand with the recession here, but unemployment is rising. And it's not all to do with the economy being not that strong. Some of it is down to artificial intelligence. I mean, I use AI myself about 20 times a day now, and it really does make me more productive. And there must be lots of people that really find it useful for them as well in business. And that means less people need jobs. You've got automation that will also impact unemployment as well. And if that happens, that's going to lead to recession. That's going to lead to less people buying houses. So if that spikes considerably next year, then you're going to see house prices drop. I'd like to know your opinions on all of these things as we talk through them. Let me know in the comments below what you think below. Bank of Mum and Dad. That's drying up. And so Bank of Mum and Dad has helped with the housing boom. Mum and dads have had their houses go up significantly over the last few years, and they pulled out equity and helped their children. Now you've got lots of inheritance taxes and stuff like that, and just uncertainty around their mortgages and stuff like that. So look, the Bank of Mum and Dad is not as lucrative as it once was. So that will mean less support with deposits and stuff like that, meaning, yeah, potentially less help, and the market may drop due to that. Here's what I think you could have a few problems with, is mortgages. Now, I've seen this year. I've seen this year on a few buy-to-let properties. So I always talk about the first property I got, which is literally just down there. And that property I bought for 45 grand. It's above a restaurant. It's a flat. There's about 6 flats in the block. And it's opposite a petrol station. Now, I bought that in 1999, and I've never had a problem getting a mortgage on it. It's been easy. But this year it wasn't. And the reasons were that the big lenders decided that they don't want to lend because it's near a petrol station. It's not near a petrol station, really. It's like a couple hundred meters away from a petrol station. But they're saying that's too close for comfort, and the surveyors always put it on the valuation. So the big high street lenders, they're not lending against that. But I've got a good broker, which you should do too. You should get a whole market broker, because when you get these scenarios, you might think, help, I can't get a mortgage, but there are lenders that will lend against that. There are specialist lenders, but lots of people don't know about this stuff. And so some people in that scenario, let's just say they wanted to buy my flat, they might just say, well, I went to HSBC, they said we can't lend against that property. That would make less buyers in the market. And some sellers wouldn't know that there's specialist mortgage brokers out there, and that could mean that property has to drop in price to get a sale. So yeah, mortgage lending criteria, I think, could get stricter. They only want A1 lenders at the moment. And so, yeah, that's a consideration here as well. Build to rent, I think that's a consideration. So big companies are building these huge blocks of flats. I'm talking about Lloyds, BlackRock, all these types of people. They're building hundreds of flats. They're building estates of houses. And if they oversaturate a town or a city, that means you could have too much stock, and that could bring house prices down. Now, they're not too fussed because they're building it, they're holding it for years, and they're renting that out at a higher premium rent than other landlords are doing. But yeah, that could bring the market price down if you get lots of places where they overbuild. Croydon has so many projects going up at the moment, I've seen. I'm not sure that they can all keep growing in value. I think they might be building a little too much there, but time will tell. We'll see. And that's it, really. I think you could put in there a global shock as well. That's something to consider, especially with Mr. Trump in power. Is he going to start a war with Venezuela? That might spook the markets on certain things. Or is the Russian-Ukraine stuff going to spill over and cause a war in Europe? That sort of stuff you've got to keep an eye on. I don't think that's massively going to impact it. So my opinion, though, is that I think that house prices in 2026 will be flat. I don't think you'll get any growth at all. I think you'll get a month up, a month down, a month up, a month down. I reckon you'll get 0% growth. I also think this year we've got 0.7% growth at the moment. I think once we get the December data in January, I think that will be pretty wiped out as well. So I think this year is a flat year, which in real terms is down. That means house prices have gone down if you take into account inflation. Let me know what you think about house prices and all of these factors. Do you think any of these in particular are going to impact house prices significantly in 2026? And last chance to grab, it's the last day today, the Cyber Week deal. Now, we put together something called the Property Accelerator. That's giving you your property toolbox, and that will give you all the skills you need at the moment to grow a property. We're talking rent to rent is a great strategy. Lots of landlords can't sell. That could help. We've got lease options that you could do. You've got buy, refurbish, refinance, rent. All of this is on sale. Today is the last day. Tomorrow it goes up. So click in the description, check it out while you're here, and like the video on the way out, and check out all the other content as well on the channel, including this video right here.